My name is Dana Neeson, and welcome to my masterclass for life insurance on closing the sale. There's something that we know about human behavior and the decision-making process. And one of those things that we know is that fear is the ultimate driver in somebody, needing to think about it. So people are paralyzed in fear about making the wrong decision. And it's a huge reason why many people will need to think about it, even if they know that they want it. And a lot of that fear and a lot of that insecurity comes from your lack of ability to make the customer feel confident in making that decision, right? They might not think that you're recommending the right amount of coverage for what they're looking for. Maybe they feel like they can't trust you. Like maybe you're a possible scam because your confidence level and how you're explaining something is making them question you as an authority. Maybe they don't really see the value in what you're trying to offer. And all of this creates a huge amount of anxiety where when they get to the end and they're asked to make a decision, they freeze and they say they want to think about it. And so I know a lot of people say that I want to think about it is not a real objection. And in many cases, yes, you're right. It is not a real objection. You have to understand what goes behind the I want to think about it. And in many cases, the I want to think about it objection is they're worried about their budget. They're worried about, maybe they want to get the opinions of their friends, family, and children. They're afraid of making the wrong decision. So oftentimes the I want to think about it, you get that because somebody is not confident enough in what you're offering in order to move forward and make that decision. So how do we build confidence in decision making? Well, there's a huge amount of research that talks about how emotions really strongly are at the forefront and affect how we make decisions. We have to get somebody emotional enough to want to feel the pain of what not having insurance will do to them. That's a much stronger motivator, like the fear of not having something and what that will do to their family, as opposed to the benefits of what that life insurance will do, which would be a positive reinforcement, right? So we have to get into that negative impact that will happen if someone chooses not to have a policy. People also don't have confidence in decision making because they're so worried about price shopping, and we call that analysis paralysis. They're worried, so focused on the numbers and the pennies, and it's our job to kind of help them see the bigger picture. That at the end of the day, the dollars and the pennies, it's minuscule. It's about actually helping this person make that decision to move forward to help their family. And if you keep searching and analyzing and running the numbers, something's going to happen to you and you're going to die with nothing. Also, information overload, right? There's also a lot of research that's been done when people have too many choices and they have too many things to think about, and they have too much numbers being thrown at them, that also paralyzes people into making no decision at all because they're afraid of making the wrong one. Also, sometimes people can get just really tired and stressful in that conversation. So even though a good final expense presentation needs to be long and it needs to be strong, it also needs to be streamlined, right? This is where I talk about where we can't spend 20, 30 minutes in a story that has nothing to do with where we need this conversation to go. We also can't spend 20 minutes looking up prescriptions, right? So that all of that extra time adds up to an accumulation of exhaustion for people and will give them an excuse to want to take a break and not continue the application process. Think about what it's like when you make a decision to buy something. Typically, we are going to consult an expert per se in order to help us make a decision if it's not something we are completely confident in. So for examples, a silly example for me is I am not the best when it comes to fashion. So there's an app called Like to Know It, and I follow influencers and I watch to see what they're wearing and the new trends and the new fashion. All I have to do is click a button and it helps me pick out outfits. But that allows me to make a very quick decision because I can already see it put together that is the expert, in my opinion, that allows me to move forward and make decisions. Another example would be possibly appliances, right, for your kitchen. And you don't know what oven to get, you don't know what stovetop to get, what dishwasher to get. A lot of people take to the internet to maybe Consumers Digest to look at reviews, right? What other people are saying. You might even go to a store and get the help of an expert that's working there that can recommend appliances based on what your needs are and what the ratings have been or what people are saying who have bought that type of appliance. You might also go to your friends and family to get referrals, right? If all of this is sounding familiar to you, then in one time or another, you have elicited the help of an expert to help you make a decision. Otherwise, you might be paralyzed into not being able to make that decision because you're afraid of making the wrong one, right? You're afraid that the decision you make will be the wrong decision. This is true when it comes to our customers who are coming to us for information on life insurance. They may be standoffish because they don't want to be sold into making the wrong decision because they think you are in it for yourself and you're not in it for them and their best interest. So I'm not going to teach you how to develop rapport right now. Have a good quality conversation, because remember, a good quality presentation is having a conversation, and this is a two-way street, right? Where we're both participating in this discovery process by asking questions, probing to dig deeper, and having active listening skills. All of that will allow you at the end to make good recommendations. So we have to position ourselves to be the expert. And that is what will allow us to make strong recommendations at the end that they will rely on in order to help them get over the hump and to be able to make that decision because they feel that you can give them the best results, right? This is also coming from the fact that people don't necessarily buy from who they like. They buy from who they feel can give them the best results. And that is going to be you if you position yourself as an expert. So you don't want to get all the way to the end and have all of this build up into your presentation and then give them three options and ask them the following questions. Well, which one of these do you like the best? Do you want to apply to see if we can get you approved? Do you want a $5,000 option? Or, which one of these fits best within your budget? Which one do you think will cover your funeral costs? Like, all of those questions put too much pressure on the customer. So it's our job as the expert and the authority to be able to guide them into which policy amount will make the most sense for them based on all the information they've told you up until this point. So if I were to give someone some options for insurance and they wanted a cremation and they were healthy, no health conditions, and they wanted to leave some extra money to their family, then I might start at a $5,000 policy, maybe go up to a $10,000 policy, and then a $15,000 policy, just so I can give them a range of pricing. And then I might say something like, do one of these seem like it could be the answer for you? Kind of leave it open-ended like that. And if they don't say yes right away, or if they hesitate or they pause, I might ask, well, can I make a recommendation? Right? That's called a mini invitation, to allow someone to receive what you're about to tell them, as opposed to just bulldozing your way right in. So of course they're going to say yes. Okay, well, it seems to me that based on everything we've talked about today, you said that you wanted to take care of the cremation costs, you wanted to make sure there was enough for any, additional expenses we didn't think of, plus you might want to leave a little bit of extra money for your family. And because of the fact that you're healthy, most people that I talk with are comfortable with a payment around $100 a month or less. And so for you, my recommendation would be to start with the $10,000. That one is $75 a month. And I would like you to stay there for a few months just to make sure that it fits within a comfortable budget for you. And if you find that you still have extra money at the end of the month and you'd like that extra money to go towards a larger policy, you can just call me back and we'll go ahead and add on to that and we'll apply for more. How does that sound? So I'm painting the picture in my recommendation so that I can justify why I am choosing that price and I'm making it relevant to them, right? I'm not just throwing out large numbers because all that's going to do is benefit me, right? Well, why would I quote someone a $30,000 policy for someone that only wants cremation that's on Social Security? And you might think you wouldn't do that too, but trust me, it happens all the time. So if at the end of the day, people are afraid of making the wrong decision, what can we do to help them get out of their own way and make a decision, period? It doesn't have to be the right one forever. It just has to be the right decision for this moment so that we can move forward with an application and get to that first step, because you can make changes later. And I think people need to know that they have like an out, not an out to cancel, that they have an out to make changes if they need to go higher or even if they need to go lower, right? There's options on both sides. So strong recommendations, using the word, can I make a recommendation, and justifying why you're making that recommendation. And as long as you're doing it the right way, people will lean into that, people will trust you, and people will move forward with that. But if you put the ball in their court and you make them make the decision, you're going to get a lot less sales.